Okay, so my question is, it's in Genesis, if I'm not mistaken, chapter 19, where it's at Sodom and Gomorrah, and where Lot has these guys knocking on the door, and they ask, where are the guys that came in the house? We want to be with them. We want to get into bed with them. And then Lot says, don't do this wicked thing. Here, take my daughters. They've never been with a man. I was floored because I think about, you expect a man to protect his daughters at all costs. I couldn't understand why he would give that response to just these people that knock on the door.
Yeah, that is a really good question. And I look at that myself and I wonder, what in the world was Lot thinking? Well, what it does tell us is he's basically lost his mind. He's lost his moral compass. He's not thinking clearly. But, Pastor Scott, how do you respond to that? You see Lot drifting, moving away from Abraham, moving into Sodom and Gomorrah, and just the downward spiral of depravity in his life. It's really tragic to see.
Yeah, John, and I think that's exactly the answer for the most part, is the effect that Lot's environment was having upon him. Abraham gave him the opportunity of where to go. If you remember when he and Abraham both were blessed so much by the Lord and that they needed more room. And so Lot chose, the Bible says Lot chose by what he saw. He looked at the plain there of Sodom and Gomorrah, that area, and saw that it was really good. And he said, I'll take that. And so he really went there based on what he saw, based on really a fleshly decision. And when he gets down there, you can tell by his answer here to those guys that the wickedness of Sodom has definitely affected his thinking. One of the things that we see is the Bible tells us that Lot sat at the gate there in Sodom. And what that means is he had become a political official. He had become part of the system of the politics and the way the city was ran. That's what it meant by him sitting in the gate. He was part of all that, and it no doubt affected his decision making. So when these wicked men come, he offers their daughters to them. Now, along with that, also you have to remember, in ancient times, as weird as it seems, in ancient times, hospitality was huge. Hospitality was everything. In ancient times, when you took in guests, of which Lot did here by taking in these two men who the Bible tells us were angels, it was really up to the host to do everything that he could, both to provide for his guests in the way of lodging and food and everything they would need, and also in the way of protection, to protect them. And so this was also part of their culture. For him to have integrity, he would have had to protect these men. And one of the ways he decides to protect them is to tell the other men who, are obviously wicked, here, take my daughters. And I know for us, that just seems so strange and out of whack. And as John said, I believe part of that is Sodom being influenced by his environment that he's in and the culture he's in. But it also had to do a little bit with their hospitality too. So you put the two together and this is what you get. John?
Yeah, and it's interesting because, if you remember, these two angels had come down to rescue Lot because Abraham was interceding with the Lord, saying, hey, listen, if there's this many righteous in the city, will you let them go? And the Lord said, yes. Well, finally narrows down to 10. Well, what if there's this many in the city? And there wasn't. And Lot had he pitched his tent towards Sodom. He ends up living in Sodom and having a position. And then he had so lost his witness that you remember when he went to his sons-in-law to try to rescue them out of the city, they laughed at him. They thought it was a joke. And he lost everything except his two daughters. His wife ended up looking back, turned into a pillar of salt. And, this is what I think, really what we could say, Darlene, it's a great question. What it does show us is that if you want to turn your eyes toward the world and you want to set your heart toward this world will suck you in. Before long, you'll be thinking like the world, doing exactly what the world does, justifying it with no thought. You'll be willing to give up all that is precious and valuable for nothing. And that's where Lot was. And it's only by the grace of God that he was delivered from that.